You walk into Metro thinking you're supporting a trusted Canadian grocery chain, clean aisles, familiar brands, convenient locations across Ontario and Quebec. But what if I told you that behind those polished shelves, there's a pattern of issues that could be costing you money, and that some experts say Metro isn't being entirely upfront about? I'm not here to trash Metro for no reason, but as of this video, there are 10 things happening at this grocery chain that every shopper needs to know before their next visit. Some of these will save you money, others might make you rethink where you're buying your groceries altogether. So if you've ever walked out of Metro feeling like something wasn't quite right, this video is for you. Let's uncover what's really happening at Metro and what the company hopes you'll never notice. Issue number 1, the bread price fixing investigation. Let's start with the elephant in the room. As of December 2025, Metro remains under active investigation by Canada's Competition Bureau for alleged involvement in a bread price fixing scheme that allegedly ran for over a decade. Now, Metro has consistently denied these allegations. But here's what we know from court documents. According to the Competition Bureau, at least $1.50 was allegedly added to the price of every loaf of bread between 2001 and 2016. That's not a typo. Over a decade of allegedly coordinated price increases. Loblaw and George Weston already settled their part of this scandal for $500 million, the largest antitrust settlement in Canadian history. Canada Bread was fined $50 million after pleading guilty to 4 counts of price fixing. But Metro, along with Sobeys, Walmart Canada, and Giant Tiger, are still fighting the allegations in ongoing class action lawsuits. According to industry observers, this investigation has been ongoing for nearly 10 years now. 10 years, and Metro has yet to admit any wrongdoing. What does this mean for you? Well, if you bought packaged bread at Metro between 2001 and 2021, you may have been overcharged. The claims deadline just passed in December 2025, but the lawsuit continues. Bottom line, while Metro maintains its innocence, the allegations remain serious and unresolved. Issue number 2, the labeling confusion. Here's something that happened just recently. In February 2025, Metro apologized after a labeling error at one of its Ottawa stores. According to a Global News investigation, products marked Product of USA were displayed under signage that said Product of Canada. Metro called it a system error and said employees are supposed to verify labels match the products. But according to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, between November 2024 and mid-July 2025, they received 97 complaints about country of origin mislabeling across Canadian grocery stores and found violations in 32% of investigated cases. A CBC News investigation in July 2025 found similar inconsistencies at Metro stores in downtown Toronto. According to their reporting, packaged raspberries and blackberries had signs declaring one country of origin, while the packaging showed something completely different. Now, is this malicious? Maybe not. Could it be human error? Possibly. But here's the thing. With Buy Canadian sentiment at an all-time high due to tariff concerns, accurate labeling isn't just important, it's legally required under Canada's Consumer Packaging and Labeling Act. Metro has apologized and says they strive for accuracy. But if you're shopping specifically for Canadian products, double-check those labels yourself. Because according to these investigations, the signage might not tell the whole story. Issue number 3, the meat weight controversy. This one's a big deal. According to a CBC News investigation published in January 2025, there have been documented cases of meat products at Food Basics, which is owned by Metro Inc., being sold underweight. Here's how it allegedly worked. According to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, in at least 2 separate incidents in 2020 and 2022, Food Basics stores in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, weighed meat products with the plastic packaging included. That means customers were paying meat prices for plastic trays. According to the CFIA, both incidents were corrected immediately and no fines were issued, but industry insiders who spoke to CBC said this practice isn't isolated. It's a systemic issue across multiple Canadian grocers. The financial impact: a CBC investigation calculated overcharges ranging from 6 to 7% on meat purchases when packaging was incorrectly included. With meat prices expected to rise 5% to 7% in 2025, according to Canada's Food Price Report, every percentage point matters. Metro's response through Food Basics was that errors were immediately corrected. But according to a former CFIA inspector who spoke to CBC, without meaningful enforcement penalties, there's no bite to prevent these issues from recurring. What can you do? Weigh your meat at home if you're buying at Food Basics or any grocer. If the weight on your scale matches the label weight with the packaging still on, you've likely been overcharged. Issue number 4. Refusing government cooperation. Here's something that didn't make major headlines, but it should have. In September 2023, the federal government called executives from Canada's Big Five grocery chains to Ottawa to discuss skyrocketing food prices and what they plan to do about it. According to a May 2025 investigation by Ricochet Media, Metro and Sobeys refused to keep the government updated on their efforts to stabilize prices. According to economist David McDonald from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, who was quoted in the report, the executives gave the government the cold shoulder. The government asked for cooperation. Metro and Sobeys declined to provide ongoing updates. According to experts who spoke to Ricochet, the meeting produced very little in terms of tangible consumer benefits. Now, to be fair, grocery chains are private businesses and aren't legally required to report to the government. But when Canadian families are struggling with food costs, and when grocery chain profits have doubled since the pandemic, according to industry analysis, choosing not to cooperate sends a message. Metro did sign the Canadian Grocery Industry Code of Conduct in December 2025, which is a step toward transparency. But according to observers, that happened only after significant public and political pressure. Issue number 5. Customer service complaints. Let's talk about what actual Metro customers are saying. Based on reviews posted on Trustpilot and SiteJabber as of 2025, there's a pattern of complaints worth noting. According to multiple customer reviews, some report receiving moldy cheese weeks before the best before date. Others describe frozen vegetable mixes with excessive stems and carrot tops rather than the advertised vegetables. Several reviews mention inconsistent product availability, with some customers reporting that advertised items in the meat department simply aren't available. One customer reported being asked for ID to pay with a credit card, something they'd never experienced before, and when questioned, was allegedly told by the manager to shop elsewhere. Now, every grocery store gets complaints. That's normal. But when patterns emerge, especially around product freshness and customer treatment, it's worth paying attention. Metro operates over 950 stores with more than 97,000 employees across Quebec and Ontario. With that scale, some service issues are inevitable. But according to reviewers, response times to complaints can stretch for months, with some reporting it took over 2 months just to get acknowledgement of a quality issue. Issue number 6. The private label gamble. Metro heavily promotes its Selection and Irresistibles private label brands. And look, private labels can be great, they're usually cheaper and often comparable in quality to name brands. But according to customer reviews on multiple platforms, Metro's private label products are getting mixed reactions. Some customers report that Selection brand frozen meals are dreadful and barely edible, even when following heating instructions exactly. Others describe frozen vegetable mixes with far more filler, stems, carrot tops, than actual vegetables. According to these reviews, the California Blend frozen vegetables were very, very disappointing, with mostly carrot pieces instead of the expected broccoli florets. Now, Metro would argue that not every product works for every customer. Fair enough, but when you're prominently featuring private labels, which typically have higher profit margins for the retailer, quality consistency becomes critical. If you're buying Metro private labels, read reviews first or start with smaller packages to test quality before committing to bulk purchases. Issue number 7. Shopping time restrictions. Here's an odd one that multiple customers have mentioned: stores opening but departments not being staffed. According to a verified review from Barrie, Ontario, one customer arrived at 7:22 a.m., shortly after the store's 7 a.m. opening, only to find the meat department completely unstaffed with no products on display. When they asked about it, they were allegedly told the store opens at 7 a.m., but there aren't any staff. Think about that. The doors are open, but key departments aren't operational. Now, staffing is a challenge across all retail right now, but if you're advertising a 7 a.m. opening, customers reasonably expect the full store to be available, not just the aisles and checkout. Issue number 8. The price match confusion. Metro has price matching policies, but according to multiple customer complaints, enforcement is inconsistent. One customer reported being told by a manager that the scanner price accuracy code, which legally requires grocers to provide the lower price if an item scans higher than the shelf price, doesn't apply to hanging prices versus shelf prices. That interpretation contradicts how the policy is understood at most Canadian retailers. The scanner price accuracy voluntary code is meant to protect consumers. When scanned prices are higher than displayed prices, customers should receive the item free up to $10 or get a $10 discount. But if Metro staff are creating distinctions between shelf prices and hanging signs, that protection becomes meaningless. If you shop at Metro, photograph shelf prices before checking out. If there's a discrepancy, you have documentation to support your claim. Issue number 9, the Moi Rewards Program limitations. Metro's Moi Rewards program is their answer to PC Optimum and Air Miles. But according to user experiences, it's not as generous as it appears. Points expire if you don't use them regularly. The earning rate is lower compared to competitors, typically 5 to 10 cents per dollar spent, while programs like PC Optimum often offer targeted bonuses of 20% back or more. And according to some customers, when Moi cards are lost, getting replacements can take weeks, during which you're earning no points on purchases. Compare this to Loblaw's PC Optimum, which syncs to your phone immediately and offers frequent personalized deals. Metro's program feels like it was designed more to track your purchases than to genuinely reward loyalty. Issue number 10, limited geographic reach. This is more of a strategic issue, but it matters. Metro operates only in Ontario and Quebec. Unlike Loblaws or Sobeys, which have nationwide presence, Metro has no stores west of Ontario. Why does this matter to you? Because when nationwide issues emerge, like the bread price fixing scandal or meat weight concerns, Metro's relatively smaller footprint means they attract less media scrutiny compared to Loblaws. Less scrutiny can mean less accountability. And according to industry observers, Metro has historically flown under the radar compared to larger competitors, even when facing the same allegations. If you're in Ontario or Quebec, you're stuck with a more limited competitive landscape, which can mean less pressure on Metro to improve service or pricing. Look, Metro isn't going out of business tomorrow. They're a major player with over $22 billion in annual sales, and they've been around for decades. And to their credit, they did sign the Grocery Code of Conduct in December 2025, which shows some willingness to improve industry standards. But based on the documented facts we've covered, the ongoing bread price fixing investigation, the labeling inconsistencies, the meat weighing issues at their Food Basics banner, their refusal to cooperate with the federal government's affordability efforts, and the consistent customer service complaints, there's a pattern here that's hard to ignore. You deserve to know what you're paying for, you deserve accurate labels, you deserve meat weighed correctly, and you deserve a grocery chain that treats customers as partners, not just profit sources. So before your next Metro run, keep these 10 issues in mind. Double-check your meat weights at home, verify country of origin labels, compare their Moi rewards to competitors, and ask yourself, is the convenience of your local Metros worth potentially paying more for less? The choice is yours, but now you're shopping with your eyes open. If this video opened your eyes to what's really happening at Metro, hit that like button and subscribe to North America's Crisis Radar for more consumer investigations. Share this with anyone still shopping at Metro without knowing these facts. And remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to protecting your wallet.